Hey, what's up everybody? Jake here and welcome to the hobby. Black Bolt and White Flare is about to release internationally in the English market, but as of right now, it's already available for the Japanese audience. So over the past couple weeks, a bunch of Japanese collectors have been ripping open Black Bolt and White Flare booster packs, and now that the dust has kind of settled, we sort of have a decent understanding on what some of the top chase cards are inside of Black Bolt and White Flare. Things are going to be a little bit different once it releases in English and for the international audience, just because our pull rates for Black Bolt and White Flare is probably going to be very different from the Japanese market. But in general, the top chase cards between these two sets should be very, very similar. So seeing what the top chase cards are inside of the Japanese market should give us a decent understanding of what the top chase cards are for English. So right now, after we've seen the pack openings for all the Japanese booster boxes, what are the most popular illustration rares that people are currently picking up right now? Before we get started though, I would like to give a huge thank you to Buyee for sponsoring today's video. If you'd like to pick up some Japanese booster boxes like Black Bolt or White Flare, or any other really cool sets that have been dropping recently, like the Glory of Team Rocket or Terastal Festival, try out Buyee today. Buyee is like having a friend in Japan who will pick up any Pokemon card products that you are currently requesting. They can purchase items through any major Pokemon card shopping service, and they will deliver it to you wherever you live. They make it super easy to purchase products directly from Japan at a super affordable price. Check them out today. If you'd like to sign up to Buyee, you can get an immediate 10% discount on your very first purchase, so definitely check them out. I've been using Buyee for years to get major discounts on a bunch of super cool Japanese products, especially from the Pokemon Center Japan, where they have a bunch of really cool exclusive products that we never see over here in English. I get all kinds of cool stuff like Japanese Pokemon mugs and all kinds of little knickknacks that makes for great gifts to friends and family. Check out Buyee today. They are a fantastic service. So what are some of the top illustration rares inside of Black Bolt and White Flare? Luckily, right now, it looks like both sets are very, very similar in terms of pull rates and in terms of price. There doesn't seem to be a standout between the two sets, which is really shocking because it's really hard to balance these two with the amount of illustration rares inside of them. And I was so sure that one of these two sets, whether it be Black Bolt or White Flare, was going to be significantly more desirable than the other one. And that just makes it kind of interesting because right now it's very balanced. Whether you purchase Black Bolt or White Flare, there's enough illustration rares and decent pulls inside of both of these sets that you're pretty much happy picking up either or. So what are the top illustration rares inside of these sets? For Black Bolt, there are some decent ones. The Snivy illustration rare is very popular, no surprise there. It is a starter Pokemon. Outside of that, there's also the Excadrill, which is a little bit surprising because Excadrill is usually not a very popular Pokemon, but it's drawn by legendary artist Mitsuhiro Arita, and it is a really cool illustration rare. The other big one is the Seismitoad illustration rare, which is drawn by legendary artist Shinji Kanda. And if you know anything about Shinji Kanda illustration rares, they can be quite expensive. So there's no surprise here that even a less desirable or less popular Pokemon like Seismitoad, drawn by such a cool artist with a really cool art piece, can be quite desirable. So those are some of the more expensive illustration rares inside of Black Bolt. All of them are ranging for between $10 to $18, nothing super duper expensive. And that's pretty much the same case that you're going to see inside of White Flare. Some of the decent ones that are inside of White Flare includes the Zoroark illustration rare, as well as the Zorua illustration rare. No surprise there, very popular Pokemon, as well as the Oshawott illustration rare, which is again another starter illustration rares, and these are also ranging for between $10 to $20. No illustration rare has been a standout inside of both Black Bolt or White Flare to be a $40, $50, $60 illustration rare, but who knows, once the dust settles over the course of the next couple months, it is still very possible that some of these illustration rares, once people get to really appreciate the artwork, will be the standout. Some underrated illustration rares can always jump out. That's what happened with the Magikarp inside of Paldea Evolve. Once it released, a lot of people were excited to pick it up, but no one knew how popular the Magikarp illustration rare was going to be until many, many, many months after the release of both Paldea Evolve and the Japanese set. So you never know which illustration rare is going to jump and run way well ahead of their peers. So there's always a chance that one of these illustration rares are going to be incredibly desirable. Check out the artworks for both Black Bolt and White Flare and let me know what your thoughts are on which ones have some of the best illustration rares. Once we're talking about the special illustration rare though, the story actually stays fairly similar. Both White Flare and Black Bolt have some really decent special illustration rares. Inside of Black Bolt, we got ourselves the Kyurem SIR, which is currently going for right around $40. We also have ourselves the Meloetta special illustration rare, which is also currently going for right around $40 to $42. Then we have ourselves the Ends Plot SIR, which is currently going for right around $85. Please note that the Japanese market really cares about their trainer cards, and some of the full art trainer SIRs can actually be more expensive than a lot of the Pokemon SIR. But things are a little bit different for the international audience. For international audience, we tend to value the trainers a little bit less and the Pokemon a little bit more. So it's very possible that the Ends Plot SIR is actually kind of inflated in the Japanese market and will be a little bit cheaper in English. For the top chase card inside of Black Bolt, no surprise here, we got ourselves the Zekrom EX Special Illustration Rare, which looks really, really cool. It's currently going for right around $170. And the top chase card of Black Bolt, no surprise here, we got ourselves the Zekrom EX Chromatic Illustration Rare or Secret Pull card. This card is amazing. I've had the lucky side of being able to see both the Reshiram and Zekrom Chromatic Rare in person, and they both look fantastic. I can absolutely see what the Pokemon company has been cooking on, because even though these cards are pure black or pure white, the amount of texturing and detail on these cards are absolutely amazing. There's a little bit of a caveat to that, is that once these cards are released in English, they're released through English printing factories, and the English printing factories do not have the same level of details as the Japanese printing factories. Usually the English printing factories, the texturing is a lot less detailed, and I'm hesitant to believe that the chromatic version of these cards in English are going to be as beautiful as their Japanese counterparts. So just be aware of that they may not look the same as the amount of details that we see inside of the Japanese version of Black Bolt and White Flare. Once we look at White Flare, there's still a bunch of cool SIRs inside of this set. Some of the ones that people want include the Keldeo and the Jellicent EX SIR. Both of these look really solid. One of the big chase SIR is going to be the Hydreigon EX. This one looks really, really cool, and I'm going to be very excited to pull it inside of my White Flare booster packs. We also have ourselves the Hilda SIR, which is very similar to the Ends Plot SIR, which is also really desirable. The Hilda one, I think, looks a little bit cooler because it has a bunch of other Pokemon inside of the art. Usually when a trainer and other Pokemons are involved inside of the same Pokemon card, it usually raises its value a little bit more just because it's way cooler as a card. And same with Black Bolt. The top chase cards inside of White Flare includes the Reshiram EX Special Illustration Rare, which I do think is a little bit cooler than the Zekrom SIR, but it's actually the reverse for the chromatic, because I think the Reshiram chromatic is less cooler than the Zekrom chromatic. The Reshiram one, even though the white texturing is really, really nice, the color white just doesn't pop as much as the black design inside of Black Bolt. So this is going to be really, really interesting. Both cards are super desirable and they're super close in price. The chromatic cards are incredibly hard chases. From what I've seen, is you have to rip open whole entire cases of Black Bolt and White Flare to maybe pull one copy. These are hard chases, and there doesn't seem to have a perfect ratio yet, but it does look like this is a new rarity tier, is that the chromatic versions of both Reshirams and Zekrom are way harder to pull than the regular SIR. So it's very possible that these cards are going to be even more expensive once they reach English if their pull rate stays the same. You might have to open 1,000, 2,000 booster packs to see a single copy of either the Zekrom or Reshiram Chromatic Rare. And if that's the case, then these cards will probably range closer to the Sunbreon price, where they'll probably be around $500 to $1,000 per copy. It could be quite pricey, but it just depends. Like I said, I'm still hesitant to understand if they are going to look as good as their Japanese counterparts, but those are the top chase cards right now inside of Black Bolt and White Flare. The other big one I want to call out is going to be the Victini Chromatic, which is currently going for upwards of $1,500 on the Japanese market because it is seen as a promo trophy card-esque. It is really, really cool. I would not recommend picking it up for $1,500. If it comes out in English, it very might be cheaper than $1,500. Generally speaking, I'm hesitant on picking up any modern Pokemon card when there's so much hype around some of these sets. When Black Bolt and White Flare releases in English, some of these illustration rares are going to be below $15, and I think below $15 you can safely pick up any illustration rare. But I would not recommend picking up any illustration rare that's going for $50, $60, $70. The risk is so incredibly high for some of these new sets when there's that level of hype around them. So let me know what your thoughts are. Are you excited for Black Bolt and White Flare? There are a bunch of really cool illustration rares inside of these sets, and once the dust settles, I'm going to be very interested to see which are the underrated illustration rares that's going to rise to the top when it comes to collectability. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.